Alright, so I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Tesla Cybertruck is finally here, and it has been 4 years since the announcement in 2019, as well as 4 years from this humiliation.
Oh my God. Well, maybe that was a little too hard.
But jokes aside, the Tesla Cybertruck is actually a really great pickup truck, and it has some numbers to prove it. So if you're really interested in buying this truck, you're in the right spot right now, and I'll be going over everything that you need to know right before you buy this truck. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to go over are the numbers and the specs of this truck. Okay, now talking about the best of the best Cybertrucks, you can actually do 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. You can get a 11-second quarter mile. You can also have 845 horsepower, as well as a top speed of 130 miles per hour. These are just insane numbers for a pickup truck, and to rank it amongst everything else, it is the fastest pickup truck to ever be made. Now obviously there are 3 different types of this truck. There is the triple motor, the single motor, and the dual motor. These all have different specs, and I'll pop them up on the screen. Now the Cybertruck is not going to be cheap. The triple motor comes in at $100,000 starting, and then the dual motor comes in at $80,000, while the single motor also comes in at a $61,000 price. The thing to note though is that the dual motor actually has a longer range at 340 miles versus the 300 mile range on the triple motor, and then the specs are still coming for the single motor. But everyone wants to know what the towing capacities are for this truck. So the actual towing capacity is 11,000 pounds, and then the bed capacity is at 2,500 pounds. Now throughout this 4-year gap, Tesla actually did make some upgrades to the Cybertruck, so now you'll be able to have a front motorized trunk. That was not in the announcement. And then also there are side view mirrors, unlike how it looked on stage. If you really like the information in this video, please consider subscribing and dropping a like. I really appreciate it, and it helps the channel a lot. Let's get back to the video. Now let's go ahead and talk about the design. So the Cybertruck did get some controversy for the design. Some people think it looks like it is still loading in, like a video game that's still loading in, and some people actually do like it a lot for the futuristic design. But other than that, the whole truck is covered in stainless steel, and let me tell you this, it is a fingerprint magnet, because you're going to be getting fingerprints literally everywhere, just like on your phones or anything that else is stainless steel. So now, since this is stainless steel, you're going to be way more durable than any other car on the road. You're going to have less dents, and also it is bulletproof. Now the stainless steel is really great to have, but it's still built by Tesla, so that means that there's going to be a little bit cut in the quality of build. It's still not really noticeable, but the only thing I could notice are like the sharp corners in some places. But other than that, the stainless steel is amazing. But this does bring up a couple questions, which I'll go over later in the video, about how this kind of works with insurance. Now the coolest thing I saw about this truck was the full beam of light in the front of the Cybertruck, and right below that is actually the headlights and the indicators. Another thing to note about this Cybertruck is that the windshield is absolutely massive and is actually the biggest windshield on any car produced. And since it does have the largest windshield, it also has to have the single largest windshield wiper on any car. Now when you see this in real life, it honestly looks so unreal, but it does kind of make some complications, and I'll talk about that when we get into the interior. Now another thing about the Cybertruck is that there are no door handles in the classic Tesla fashion. They want to be unique with their door handles. There is actually just a button right next to the window, and that's how you actually open the door. And then another thing you need to take into account for this door button is where you live, because if this thing freezes, you're gonna have to break the ice and then press the button and then rely on the Cybertruck that it has enough power to open the door. But apparently it does, according to Tesla. And then onto the back of the truck, the tailgate actually opens with the press of a button, just like the doors in the front. The bed actually is also motorized, so you can open and close that with a button as well. And then something that confused me with this bed is that when you close the bed, your whole rear view is going to be obstructed and you won't be able to see anything throughout your rear view windows. But don't worry, it is still street legal to drive, and I'll tell you how it is when we get to the interior. Okay, so now on to the interior. The interior has the typical Tesla look, which is very minimalist with the one big iPad on the side. And this one actually has the yoke steering wheel. And then something that threw me off about the Cybertruck is the distance from the seat all the way to the front is really, really long. So if you put anything on your dashboard, you're probably going to lose it all the way at the front of the truck. And then another thing you'll be wondering is, where do you go from drive to park to reverse, all the gear selections? And it's actually above your head. And then while you're looking up there, you'll notice there's no rear view mirror. So there's actually a camera in the back, and then there's also a camera in the front. So it gives you a little bit more visibility while you're driving. And then getting into the back seats, you could notice that there is a little iPad for the passengers in the back. And then a little secret is that you can actually fold up all three of the seats for even more storage. Now let's get into the drive and the feeling of this truck. It still has that yoke kind of steering wheel, but it has the top part of the wheel. It's just kind of a wheel that's kind of compressed down. And then for the turning of this truck, it is really good compared to a bunch of other trucks because of the rear axis steering. The rear axis steering basically lets the back tires move while the front ones are moving. So if you're going under 40 miles per hour, your back tires can actually go up to 10 degrees in the opposite directions of the front tires to give you a better turning radius. And then the last thing about the drive is the steering wheel again, because the steering wheel doesn't go past 180 degrees, or not even to 180 degrees. It goes to 170, I believe. And this just forces you to have better recognition of where your wheel is, but I would say that's a positive. And then with the Cybertruck, there are some additional costs. So, for example, you could pay for a bigger battery to get around 410 miles instead of 300. Also, you can buy for a tire as well as a Tesla base camp. Okay, now that's all the information, so let's go ahead and talk about all the advantages of the Cybertruck. The only thing to note here is that this thing is really powerful. Its 0 to 60 and quarter mile are insane for a truck and can even beat some cars, just like it demoed with the Porsche 911. The rear wheel steering is another really good thing to have with this Cybertruck, as well as the turning radius, and then also Tesla's superior ecosystem of charging just makes it so easy to charge anywhere you are. And then some of the dislikes that people have for this Cybertruck is that the design might be ugly for some people, but others honestly love it for its futuristic look. And then also the price of the truck is really expensive, as the most expensive version is up to $100,000. And then lastly is the visibility to the front of the truck, because you have that really, really big windshield, which is separating you from the front of the truck. And now going back to the questions that I had earlier about insurance and the Cybertruck. So the first thing is that there obviously isn't enough people that have the Cybertruck to report how much their insurance costs monthly and which provider is basically the best for the Cybertruck. Other than that, the stainless steel does make this truck really, really strong. And while it does a great job of being durable, it means that it doesn't crumple. So when you get into a car accident with another car, that car is going to be ridiculously destroyed and your truck will be fine. We'll see how that works in the insurance company. And then to add on top of that, we know that Tesla has the consistency of being more expensive on the insurance side. So we'll have to see how this whole insurance thing does work with the Cybertruck. But that's about it for the Cybertruck. Everything you need to know before you buy it. Let me know if you think that this design is either futuristic or ugly. And let me know what you want to see next. And I'll see you in the next video.